Atlanta, did you hear the news? They are literally trying to turn ATL into China. Georgia Power and AT&T have teamed up and created these LED streetlights with sensor-enabled data network in order to see your every move, y'all. Check this out. You're not gonna like it.
Power crews have been working to repair and replace streetlights in and around Metro Atlanta. The sensors can record outdoor temperature, capture pedestrian and vehicle movement, and record audio and video. Drone 2 flew over the Thomasville Heights neighborhood.
So the device attaches very nicely to the light, and it blends in quite nicely. And it's got two cameras, two audio sensors, edge processing capabilities, which is really great and allows you to do a lot more than just kind of sending full video files back. And supports multiple connectivity options like cellular is what we're leveraging today, but it can also support fiber and Bluetooth as well.
Officials held a news conference Wednesday night to discuss the progress they've made with the Light Up the Night program, where they plan to go next. 2024 marks year 3 of the ongoing initiative and the latest efforts in the old Adamsville neighborhood.
The next year, we're going to increase that by 20,000 more lights. Lighting up the night.
Is that the people monitoring the cameras have the ability to move those cameras 360 degrees. They can zoom in and out on whatever's happening in the area of the camera. We have highly trained civilian personnel. Not only are they monitoring radio traffic, they have the ability to communicate directly with the officers on the street, and they're also proactively monitoring, looking for criminal activity. For example, there was a monitor that observed animal abuse, and they were able to call that out, and the suspect was apprehended at a short distance from where the observation was made.
We also have camera programs that allow that where we own and operate.
I find it very fascinating how they can find people who are
First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone while learnt his truth, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I like to say Shalom. Come back here today with another great and powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And the type of day lesson is Operation Shield, Atlanta AI Surveillance, Digital Prison. So I like to say Shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to sweep you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we start today's lesson, let's get this quick AI overview. And it reads, it says, Atlanta has significantly expanded its surveillance infrastructure, so with reports indicating it has become one of the most monitored cities in the U.S. So with over 20,000 to 60,000 public and private cameras, so integrating into a single network. Said this surveillance network often tied to the Atlanta Police Foundation, Operation Shield, and connected Atlanta programs allows for AI enable monitoring of neighborhoods in real time. Let's open it up a little bit more. It said open it up real time. Let's get back to it. It said with a high concentration of cameras, say in majority black communities. See right there? Let's read that once again. Majority black communities. So we already know what this is all about. They're going to target the people of colors, the Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indian. You know, I'm talking to you. And one thing about it, we know that we're at the beginning of Jacob's trouble. And also we know that this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath because he knowing that he has but a short time. So we seeing now for the last couple of years, they've been putting these so-called 5G LED lights up, for surveillance, and monitoring. It's in your biometrics. All these things are getting ready to work in hand. So they're constantly putting the infrastructure into place. And also we knowing that Atlanta is a test run city. I think also, Jackson, Mississippi going to become one of those too, if I'm not mistaken, because it's predominantly black, also majority black. But we already knowing that, that we're very close. But we know there's no such thing as black, no such thing as white. Those are social constructs. But just to bring it out a little bit more, it said once again. Let me read that last part. Majority black community. So right now we already know who they're going to target, who they're going to be tracking. You know what I'm saying? Also, we know that all roads lead to that digital oil. We already know these things are right before our eyes. So this right here is what's happening in China, which in fact is that what you call that social credit score system. That's exactly what they're putting into place. Tracking and tagging and monitoring your biometrics, your travel movement, just like a smart city. So when you go into the acronym SMART, it goes into surveillance, it goes into monitoring, reporting, analysis, and technology. So that's where we at right now. So we seeing they putting the infrastructure into place. We're seeing these data centers coming up all across America. Might have, I think they say it's 21 in the Mississippi. I think it's about 7 or 8 that's going to be built in Louisiana. So it's a lot of things that's happening right before your eye. A lot of people looking at it like, oh, it's a good thing. Oh, it's for safety. It's for, trying to see who is an illegal alien or whatever. No, it's for majority, for you black people, so-called black people. That's who it's for. The Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indians. Jacob trouble has begun, but it's going to intensify. It's going to be a time of trouble that we've never seen before. So let's get a little bit more of this. It said, here's our key aspects of this surveillance expansion. It said AI, real-time tracking, select it. It said the city is testing AI-powered cameras, surveillance that can track vehicles and identify suspicious movement, often integrated with the controversial public safety training center. So we seeing right now, they've been doing that with these what you call so-called flock cameras. We seeing cameras popping up all over the place. Big Brother is watching. Also, we're gonna have the Palantir. It's gonna be putting all your data into one main system. What I'm saying? It's gonna be powered by Palantir and also by these data centers. See how they slowly putting it into play. And also eventually you're gonna have to have a digital ID to even be a part of this new society, what they're putting into place, which in fact is total control. So we're very close to AI real-time tracking. You know what I'm saying? And right now, they're tracking us right now through our phone, also through these damn satellites, but guess what? The Lord is the ultimate judge. He's getting ready to return to set everything back in order. It says here, so we don't give a damn what this red devil do. It said private-public partnership. It said the network includes thousands of private cameras from businesses and residents, said that can be accessed by police during emergencies, with roughly 80% of costs covered by the private sector. So this technology here is going to be very high tech. AI surveillance. Also dealing with your biometric. We constantly warn you. So you pretty much got your biometrics already. You touching your phone left and right. They got your fingerprints left, like your face recognition. So it's going into an eye retina scan. So a lot of these things is happening. Let's get this right here. Digital jail /E concentration. It says here, in 2023, the Fulton County Jail explored using high-tech wearables such as tail tricks, biometrics, wristbands to track inmates, said locations and heart rate. Man, this sounds like the mark of the beast shit, ain't it? That's what it's get ready to go into. So while the initial contact was reincited, said due to implementation issues, said it highlighted the trend towards a concentration in local facilities. So we're seeing now that they're going to put these, like people going to jail out there. Something else I've seen that whereby they will implant a brain chip into your brain and you, like I said, you got 30 years, you're doing it within about 7 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of people are going to get lined up and take that, but guess what? You'll never be the same again. And also, they're going to have you under total control, be able to control your mind, you know, with that chip. You know what I'm saying? What's that movie called? Manchurian Candidate. And there's many others, you know, that goes into that type of stuff. What is that? MK Ultra, mind controlling, you know. So there's a lot of this technology is already here, you know. And I was watching a video about how they have this technology, you know, with the celebrities and these sports stars and stuff. They said most of them has already have that chip already. So, you know, we already know the mark of the beast, you know, system is already in the place. Is already knowing about this social credit score system is already set up in China. So China was the blueprint. Now they're doing pilot runs in Atlanta, and also it's going to go to other major cities like Atlanta, Jackson, Mississippi, Houston, Texas, what's the other one? Dallas, wherever is heavy majority so-called black people. That's where they're going to be setting these things up. Big brother's watching, but who is our big brother? You know what I'm saying? Which in fact is Yahweh Ba'ashim Al-Shai. He's watching. We're not worried about this red devil. Let's see here. It says something about protest, but I think that's all we're gonna get out of this. So let's go get a precept. I have some more videos to bring up, but we're gonna get a few precepts, then we're gonna go back to the video. Let's go back here to Psalm chapter 33. Let's go to Psalm chapter 33 and verse 10. Let's get this here. It says here, the Lord bringeth, Salakia. Let's see, let's see, where were I? That's it. That's what I want. Psalm chapter 33 and verse 10, it said, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. Say, he maketh the devices of the people of none effect. So one thing about it, we know that at some point, once he set this thing up, the Lord is going to intervene on our behalf. Also, the Lord is getting ready to disappoint him. His hands will not be able to perform his enterprise, his agenda, his plan, which in fact is total control, the NWO. Let's get it in NLT. It said the Lord frustrates the plans of the nations and thrusts all their schemes. So the Lord's getting ready, you know, throw it down, you know, so we don't have anything to worry about, even though this man's setting all this up. You know, he's trying to get his enterprise rolling, you know what I'm saying, make you a petrol slave, but he's in for a rude awakening. Let's get to one here in Psalm chapter 17 and verse 13. Let's get this here, because we know that this man is getting ready to use that sword, you know what I'm saying. He is the Lord's sword, you know. Let's go here. It says, arise, O Lord, disappoint him. Cast him, Salakia, let me start over. So arise, O Lord, disappoint him. Cast him down. Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, which in fact is Esau Edom. You know what I'm saying? It goes into that sword when you go to Genesis chapter 27, verses 39 and 40, will tell you about his blessing. So this man is getting ready to use this technology. He's getting ready to use his pseudoscience, and also he's getting ready to use his military in a big way. The devil's getting ready to come down with great wrath, but the Lord is going to lift up a standard. Also, the Lord is getting ready to cast this devil down, and we cannot wait. So we seeing this man is moving in warp speed. You know, a lot of people still are not considering the signs of the time, and guess what? They're right before your eyes. So now let's go back to the video, and after the video we will start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified.
I think Trump is entirely expendable. Yeah. The bankers put him in to get the control grid, and he's done an A+ job of building it and persuading people to go along with it in high speed. You know, and the conservatives, you know, it's a uniparty. If you look at how that system works, every year the federal government has $6 trillion of expenses and $4 trillion of revenues. And that means $2 trillion comes from, you know, the central banking money machine. And so that's what controls. And the question is, how do you market and sell to the population the things you want to do? And so I think Trump, and I said this in 2024, was chosen by the New York Fed member bankers to basically get the control grid. His job was to persuade. So let's look at the control grid. There are three general baskets of what you need to do. The first is programmable money. The second is digital ID. To do programmable money, you require digital ID. And then the third is you need the hardware and the software infrastructure to do the social credit system and surveillance that you need to do those two things. And so you need all the data centers is the big one, but you also need a surveillance infrastructure and enforcement infrastructure to back it. So how do you persuade conservatives and people in the heartland to embrace building that infrastructure? The way you do it is you say, oh, we have election fraud, or, oh, we have an immigration problem, and so we need a digital ID to identify who everybody is so we can't have fraud. Now, remember, we had borders and elections before digital technology. So it's a bunch of hooey, but it works. And, oh, we need to put together a private army called ICE with detention centers all over the country who are free to enforce without constitutional protections in violation of the law to get these hardened criminal immigrants out. But in fact, it's not to get the hardened immigrants out. It's to manage the control grid and do what you have to do when people get antsy once they see how it's working and how it comes together. So, so Trump has done, once he got the big, beautiful bill and the funding and precedent going for data centers, if you look at everything he's done to build the control grid or to put the conditions in place to do it, they now have what they need. Trump is basically expendable now. Yeah, I think Trump is entirely expendable.
Becoming digital surveillance precincts with so-called smart city programs being rolled out across the country. Invasive technology such as facial recognition cameras, license plate readers, smart lights, smart poles, smart cars, smart neighbourhoods, smart homes and smart appliances, all connected to wireless networks and communicating with each other. So what's wrong with that? Technology is good, isn't it? All this is for your safety, security and convenience, isn't it? Well, let me tell you, your streets are spying on you. Your mobile phone is spying on you, your cities are spying on you, and the infrastructure for future lockdowns is being put into place right now. Don't be fooled. You're being set up to be tracked through your movements and through the future of your digital wallets. By handing over your data, you're handing over the ability to monitor your behaviour, which will soon be turned into a social credit score. And once the central bank digital currencies are in place, you won't get to spend your money without approval. Digital ID will soon become a reality in Australia. Many other countries are already rolling these systems out, countries like Canada, Scotland and many others. Eventually, you won't be able to access any government or public services, and you won't be able to travel across borders or access healthcare or the internet without a digital ID. Think you won't comply? I think you will. The last 2 years were the dress rehearsal and we fell for it hook, line and sinker. Australians are sleepwalking into this technocratic future, and while we're sitting around scratching our chins trying to work out whether this is really happening, Australia is drifting towards a dystopian
is a social credit score system. If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever, and people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kids' lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away. And they're going to ask if you're gay. They're going to be asking if you ate 3 pizzas this week because it's unhealthy. If you buy certain books in certain countries, your country doesn't like you, will lose points in the social credit score system. So this is already the reality of the world in certain places, and we need to be aware of that if you don't want that, or if we.
So we're seeing now they're building the infrastructure. Same thing that's happening in China is getting ready to happen here, right here in our own backyard. That's what we constantly been warning you about, left and right, is coming upon that time, where they get ready to put this new this digital biometric system into place. It's going to be working hand in hand with the digital ID. It's going to be working hand in hand with also this digital money, what they're putting into place. And also, it's going to lead right into the Neuralink and also to the RFID microchip. So, that's why you're seeing all these data centers going up left and right. So let's start here. Let's go to Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Because this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. Let's get this right quick. We always love to get this. This is coming out a whole lot often now, because we in these times. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knowing that he has but a short time. So right here, you already knowing when you go into that word devil, goes into someone that's a false accuser, someone that's slanderous, someone is a deceiver, which in fact is the modern day so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, not white, red. You know what I'm saying? One thing about that, we're seeing now he's putting everything into place, putting this digital infrastructure into place. Also this monitoring, surveillance, tracking, scanning, all these things that get ready to come into play. Also, this implantable technology shall go into your right hand or into your forehead. This is where we at right now. That's what we're constantly warning you, left and right. You can call it a lockdown. That's why they have these concentration camps already into place. Boy, it's pouring down today, but hey, that's the spirit. Let it rain. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, let it pour down on them, Lord, But we're here, man. We're seeing right now that this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. We know that Jacob's trouble is out the door. We know what the hour of temptation, the hour of testing, World War III, these things are right before our eyes. So let's go here to 2nd Esdras. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 14. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 14. And it reads, it said, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, and woe goes into destruction. Verse 15 said, for the sword in their destruction draws nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So one thing about it, we know that the modern day sword is all sorts of weaponry, the modern day gun and all sorts of weaponry. So we're seeing right now that we're going to come upon that time. A lot of people going to buck up against this new digital society, whereby you're going to have to have a digital ID. Also, you're going to have that implantable technology on your body, under your skin, which in fact is that grain of rice, RFID microchip, which in fact is the mark of the beast. We already know that that things don't get popping when they implement that, so that's what we're waiting on, so we know there's going to be a lot of things, civil war, civil unrest. Let's get in the next verse. So for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their acts shall stand in their power. So this right here is going to set it all, that order out of chaos. You know what I'm saying? You already know, problem, reaction, solution. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it is what they're doing, bringing forth this chaos so they can start this here. Sedition goes into rioting, protesting, you know what I'm saying? Civil unrest. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things is getting ready to happen. People are going to be off the hinge. You know what I'm saying? Also, it said not going to regard police, not going to regard the government, not going to regard the military, and also they're not going to regard each other, because a lot of people are going to be saying, I don't want to be a part of this. They're going to force you to these concentration camps. And also that's why they bringing back these firing squad. And also when you get around to it, look up the Noahide laws. You know what I'm saying? So, that's that cruel law, he's getting ready to bring back all this extreme cruel punishment. See what else we got here. It said, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, because of what these checkpoints, these mandates, you know what I'm saying, the lockdowns, you know what I'm saying, so we're coming upon these times. So we already know that he put you in a 15-minute city, so they're going to restrict your travel, your movement. We already knowing about these airlines are constantly slowing down. So we already know that your movement and your travel is going to be totally under control. You know what I'm saying? Highly surveillance. If they put this social credit score into system, I seen whereby a lot of people got shut out of the system because they It's not because they didn't have any money, because of something they might have been doing or whatever. They shut them out, so they homeless right now. You know, they out there all out on the street. So you know, this man right here, this we already know that this is gonna be off the chain. The Lord's not on your side. If you're not for the election, you know you're not gonna make it out of here. Verse 18 said, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." They shall be what? Very afraid. You know, because when this pop off, you know, it's going to be a lack of, you know, we can get in the next verse in a minute. It said let me see where I'm at. Verse 19 say a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because the lack of bread and great tribulation. So it's coming upon that time. So when they cut off all your support, which in fact the Lord is going to cut it off, the Lord is going to break the staff of the bread, your necessity, your support, your way of life is getting ready to change. So it's going to be a famine, food shortage, you know what I'm saying? All sorts of things are getting ready to come into play. Cannibalism. We already know about the pestilence. You know, I did a lesson on it early this morning. So these things are already into place. The stage is set. All things are ready. So they're not going to have any pity when these things come upon us. We already know they have these sleeper cells into place. We have the ICE patrol. We have the military in place. You know, everything is set, and a lot of our people are still drinking and being married, constantly playing games, and it's gonna catch you unaware when you not expecting it. You know, so a lot of people right now thinking that, you know, oh, this is not going to happen. The prophets always talking about this left and right, you know, back and forth. You know, man, they sounded like a broken record. Why they just, you know, but guess what? The Lord said, keep not silent, warn them for me. If you see something, say something. You know, if you're a prophet of the Lord, true prophet of the Lord. So let's go here to our last and final script. Let's go here and talk long enough. Let's go here, you know what I'm saying? Let's go here to Ephesians. Let's close out Ephesians chapter 6. Ephesians chapter 6. Let's close out here. Ephesians chapter 6, and we'll start up at verse 11. It said, put on the whole armor of the Almighty, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. That's what you got to put on, the whole armor. What's that armor? This gospel, these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom and knowledge should be the start building of time. You know what I'm saying? You got to be, you know, got to have it on. You can't be naked in that time of trouble. You are, you know, you're going to get exposed to the wiles of the devil. You know what I'm saying? This man here, you know, trying to get that advantage. You know what I'm saying? We hear it. Verse 12 says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So we seeing that is at work, that sinister side, you know, that left-hand energy, you know what I'm saying, these global leaks, you know, international bankers, you know, these things are working. Also, we know that the Lord is sending these spirit of vengeance everywhere too. The love of men is waxing cold. You know, that's why you got to have that armor on. You know, you get caught naked, you know what I'm saying, you'll get totally destroyed. You get caught up in that evil net. Verse 13, it said, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai, said, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. So that one thing about it, you got to be firm in that time of trouble. That's why the Lord said, the same that endure, the same shall be saved. So lean not on your own understanding, but trust and believe in Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is Operation Shield, Atlanta AI Surveillance, Digital Prison. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Baal Shem Yahushai Baal Shem Rekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Shalom.